Welcome everyone to our class today. Let's talk about money, one of your favorite topics, I'm sure. You will learn lots of phrases, words, and idioms and expressions in this class. Hello everyone watching live. The main problem is money. Everyone, third person singular, everyone loves money. Okay, so first let's talk about banking. What is the name of the machine that you see in the screen? What would a native speaker call this? He's at what? Put it in the comments because this is going to be one of the keywords. So I want to know if you know it already. Okay, let's get started. You might say, some people already know it. Awesome. You might say, I need to withdraw $500 from my savings account. So maybe you say this to a bank teller, but let's be honest, most people don't go to banks very frequently anymore. Most people do everything online. But you might say this to a friend, a family member, or a bank teller. Now notice I said bank teller. That's the person who works at the bank and provides you with service. Okay, so to withdraw, this is to take money out of your bank account. So to withdraw. Who knows what's the opposite of withdraw? If withdraw is take out, what is the opposite? Who knows? Put that in the comments as well. Don't worry, you'll learn this, but I'm going to quiz you before I share. I already see the answer. Oh, my students are very quick today. You're on the ball. That's an idiom. You're on the ball. You're answering very quickly and correctly. You're on the ball. Okay, let's keep going. So you can say withdraw. That sounds quite formal. It sounds like something I would probably use at the bank with a bank teller or with someone official. Now, the everyday way of saying this is take out. Remember, that's the definition of withdraw, take money out, because you take something out. So I'll take out some cash. This is a separable phrasal verb. So you can say, I'll take some cash out, or I'll take out some cash for the market this weekend. So this is something my husband always says because the market that we go to, the farmer's market, is cash only. So we always have to take out some cash for the market on the weekend. So of course, everyday phrasing, don't use withdraw, use take out. But when you're doing your online banking, because they generally use more formal language, they'll probably say withdraw and then the opposite. You might see that language with online banking. Exactly. I'll take out some cash. And then my smart students got the answer. Yes, it's deposit. Exactly. Well, you can't just have put. It would be put in. Okay, so not just put in. So you can say, I need to go to the bank to deposit this check. Now, most of the time, you don't need to go to the bank anymore. Thankfully, you can just take a picture of your check and upload it to your online banking platform. But personally, there are certain checks that I receive that for some reason I can never take a picture of them. It just never accepts it. There's always an error that I get. So the twice a year that I actually go to the bank is to deposit these very specific checks that for some reason don't work with online banking. So I need to go to the bank to deposit this check. Now this check, instead of check, this money, you deposit either physical money or a check. Okay, so to put money into an account. Now, even though put in is the phrasal verb, native speakers use deposit. So yes, for take out, for withdraw, in everyday speech, we generally don't use withdraw. We just use take out. but we use deposit for put in. That's the general term that we use. Let's keep going. Okay, how about this? I transferred you the money for the tickets. This is something that I commonly say to friends, family members. My friend might buy the tickets. Let's say we're going to the movies. And of course, we want our seats to be together. So my friend will buy the tickets, but then I need to give her the money. So I can just transfer the money to my friend. Okay. So I transferred you the money for the tickets. This means I sent you the money electronically, but nobody would say that. That is the direct translation. So notice here to transfer, transfer is the verb. And that's why it's in the ED form, because this is a completed past action. So transferred, just a softie. Repeat after me, transferred. I transferred you. So you can transfer someone something. I transferred you the money. You can transfer something to someone. So that's the alternative. I transferred the money to you. So you cannot say I transferred the money you. That would be incorrect. I transferred the money to you. Okay, that's the alternative sentence structure. Both are very common. It doesn't matter which one you use. I transferred you the money for the tickets. Now, you can transfer someone else money. You can also transfer money between your accounts. So in your bank or your online bank, you probably have different accounts, and you might take $500 from this account and transfer it to another account. So this is not going to another person, is going from account to account. So it would be the same language used. I'm going to the bank to transfer the money to my school. Exactly. So you can transfer something, the money, to someone or something to my school. Exactly. I transferred you the money I owed you last month. Exactly. Very nicely done. I love that. Great job. Excellent. Good job, everyone. Let's keep going. How about this? So everyone knew what the image at the beginning was. Most of my students, I saw a lot of comments. So ATM, this stands for automated teller machine. Do not say that. Nobody says that. Honestly, most native speakers don't even know what ATM stands for. Okay. But remember, thank you so much, Jorge, for your support, and hello. Now, remember, ATM is a noun. So in a sentence, you need an article, or here, a possessive, this ATM. Okay. You could say the ATM, or you might say, I need to find an ATM. An ATM. I need to find an ATM. Okay, so you must use an article in front of it, or a word that replaces an article, like this. This ATM charges $5 to take out money. Most ATMs charge money. So charge is that it requires payment, or it applies a fee to your account. So you might be charged money to transfer money from one person to another. Hopefully, you're not charged money to transfer within your different accounts. But yes, it's a processing fee. Exactly. Exactly. Okay, now, oh, now you know ATM, and you also know charge. Make sure you always use ATM. So you might say, where's an ATM? I need to find an ATM. Do you know where an ATM is? Yes, and make sure you have the article an ATM, an ATM, so notice that connection, an ATM, an ATM, an ATM, an ATM. All right. Let's keep going, everyone. What do we have next? This is the image of the ATM just to jog your memory. And if you're enjoying this lesson, who doesn't like talking about money? But yes, 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 in the comments, like this lesson and subscribe so you're notified every time I go live, every time I post a new lesson as well. I have some great lessons coming up for you. And also, I have this free speaking guide for you. In this guide, I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can print it out like I did, or you can save it to your computer as well. So just go to my website and you can get this for free. And also, if you want to keep learning natural expressions, if you want my support, if you want to make sure that you're using all these phrases correctly, your grammar is correct, your pronunciation is correct, you can get my support in my program called the Finally Fluent Academy. So you can find more information in the description as well. And great seeing you, Ariel. So nice to have you here. Thank you for your support. And let's keep going on to talking about saving. So saving money, saving money. Okay. Let's keep going. I'm at the ATM. Exactly. Nice. Now, to save money, you can use the phrasal verb to set aside. I set aside $100 every month for emergencies. So it means you take this money, $100, and you save it. You save it for a specific purpose. So in this case, the specific purpose is an emergency. Maybe the roof starts leaking, or your fridge breaks, your car breaks, you get sick and it's expensive, or you break a tooth and it's expensive. So that would be an emergency, an emergency. I set aside $100 every month for emergencies. Now, the phrasal verb or the verb here, set, you have to conjugate your verb. In this case, it's in the present simple. So if it were she sets aside $100 every month for emergencies. Now, the past simple of set is set, and the third form is set. And yes, everyone, you're right. That's a piggy bank. I don't know about you, but it's very common in North America for kids to have piggy banks. I don't know many adults that have piggy banks, but kids have piggy banks. And whenever they get a little bit of money, because getting money when you're 8 years old, 10 years old, getting any kind of money is a big deal. You put it in your piggy bank and then you count it, and it's very exciting. Yes, piggy bank. Great job, everyone. I don't know where that came from. Why piggy? I'm not sure. Yeah, I set aside $2,000 for next year's tuition fees. Exactly. So you reserved that money so you don't go out and spend it on the weekend. Very nice. I set aside a lot of money every month for my kids' college. Absolutely excellent job. And thank you, Natalia. Set, set, set. Awesome. Oh, that's so cool. I had a fish bank. I love that. I love that. Okay. Let's keep going. I'm saving up for a long trip next year. So here, to save up, and if you specify the something, a long trip next year, you need an additional phrasal verb or additional preposition for. So to save up for something. I'm saving up for a long trip next year. Now, this is very similar to set aside. So you collect money over time for a future goal. So it's very similar to set aside. You can say, I'm saving up for my kids' college. For example, I'm saving up for my daughter's wedding. I'm saving up for our honeymoon, whatever it is. Now, generally, with save up, you don't have to specify the word money or the amount of money. But with set aside, you can't just say, I set aside every month for emergencies. That's incomplete. So the sentence structure is slightly different because you have to set aside money. You can just use the word money, or you can be specific, like here, $100. But with save up, you don't have to include the word money or the specific amount. I'm saving up for my kids because they need it. Absolutely. That's very thoughtful of you. I'm saving up money to buy a new smartphone. Absolutely. It doesn't have to be for emergencies. You can do it for something fun, something entertainment based, or something practical like a new smartphone. I'm saving up money to buy a new smartphone. Very, very nice. Okay, let's keep going. What do we have here? So this is something that's specific for me, which is a TFSA. I have no idea if this exists in your country, but in mine, we have something called a TFSA. Can anyone guess what this might be? Remember, we're in the context of saving money. Does anyone know what this might be? Take a guess. What do you think this stands for? And maybe it's very common in your country as well, and I'll share it. But every year I max out my TFSA. So to max out, this means to reach the maximum allowed limit. So let's say the maximum limit is $7,000, which is true. In this case, it's $7,000. It means I contribute $7,000. Okay. That means to max out, to do the maximum. Okay. I love it. I love it. Everyone's guessing. Everyone's guessing. Great job, everyone. Thank you for indulging me. Oh, very, very good guess. Yes, love it. So close. You got the last two words right, but not the first two. Hidaki got it. So, a tax-free savings account. This is something that the government offers where you can put $7,000 every year into this account called a tax-free savings account. And all the interest you earn on that account is tax-free. So let's say I invest $7,000 and I make 10%. So I make $700. I don't have to pay tax on that $700. So this is an incentive that the government provides to try to encourage people to save money. So that's something we have. So you might have a similar account in your country. You might have a retirement account that you can contribute to as well, or other types of accounts, maybe for your children's education, your retirement, your pension, something like that. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to save the money for my retirement. Exactly. So you might set aside money every month for your retirement, or you might save up for your retirement. Let's keep going. Now, remember here, I'm using max out, but this is a positive thing to max out a tax-free savings account. This is not a positive thing. Honey, did you max out our credit card at the spa? So here in this case, to max out, it's the same thing, is to reach the maximum allowed limit. The exact same definition, but in this case, if you have $5,000 available on your credit card, remember, that isn't free money. You have to pay it back. And then you spend $5,000 at the spa. Well, you just maxed out your credit card. So that's just showing you the contrast where max out can be positive in the case of a savings account or a retirement pension fund, your emergency fund, whatever it might be, but it's often used in the negative where you max out your credit card. Okay. Yeah, just remember that max is a verb. So this is a phrasal verb. The preposition is, of course, out. But max is a verb. It's a regular verb. So in the past simple, it would be maxed. I maxed out my credit card shopping. Very nicely done. And just notice that pronunciation maxed with a very soft T. Maxed. Maxed. Yeah. I was trying to think of an example a wife would say to her husband, but I couldn't think of it. I don't know. Maybe if you can think of one, share it. But the other way around, of course, it's the spa. That's an easy one. The spa. Okay. So maxed out. I maxed out my credit card on vacation. So maybe just this sounds quite indulgent, of course, but maybe you max out your credit card to pay for tuition because you don't have enough, or you maxed out your credit card when you had an emergency and you needed to get the roof repaired and you didn't have an emergency fund, an emergency account, for example. So there's lots of times where you might max out your credit card, but it's not necessarily in an indulgent way. It might be because of necessity. Let's keep going. We need to cut back on eating out. So remember, this is the context of saving money. We need to cut back on eating out. So on is a preposition, and that's why the next verb is in ing. We need to cut back on eating out. We need to reduce our spending on food. Food, not groceries, because eating out isn't the same as groceries. So it would be going to dinner, getting lunch at the food court or the market instead of making your lunch at home, things like that. So cut back on. This is used in a non-financial context. We use this with our diet. Oh, I need to cut back on sweets. I need to cut back on carbs. I need to cut back on sugar. I need to cut back on coffee, for example. So reduce the amount of that thing. All right. Natalia, honey, did you max out our credit card at the hardware store? Exactly. Great job. Love that example. Thank you. I need to cut back on calories. Exactly. Just make sure cut back is 2 words because you have to conjugate the verb, even though it's an irregular verb. So it's cut. Last month, we cut back on eating out. So that is the past simple. So this is a great one when you're talking about trying to save money. How about this? Unfortunately, a vacation isn't in our budget this year. Isn't in our budget this year. So here, budget, this is a noun. And you can say our budget, my budget, the budget. So you need an article or a possessive in front of it. And this is the amount of money available and planned for spending. So you have your paycheck that you make. Let's just use a very easy $1,000, okay? So you have of that $1,000, you're going to budget. So you're going to have $200 for food. And that's what you have available and planned for food. You might spend a little less, you might spend a little bit more. So you can be under the budget, you can be over the budget, but you might plan out how to allocate. Allocate is the more formal way of saying divide, distribute. So you plan how to allocate your money. Now, not everybody has a budget, that's for sure. And this is very commonly used in workplace discussions. So your department has a budget available for certain things. You may know what that budget is. You may be a decision maker. You may manage that budget, but is very commonly used in a business context. Of course, in a government context, they're always talking about their budget, but in a household context as well. The man's budget is not enough to buy a new car. Absolutely. Very nice. Government budget for defense this year is insane. Yeah, exactly. So always they're talking about the government's budget for sure. Now here, remember, this is a noun, our budget. Let's plan our budget. We need to revise our budget. Okay. You can also use it as a verb. So basically the exact same sentence, but I had to change the sentence structure because now I'm using it as a verb, to budget. So this is to plan how you'll spend money. So you might say, honey, we need to budget for this vacation. Okay, so you can budget for something, which means that you plan to spend a certain amount of money for a certain purpose. Unfortunately, we didn't budget for a vacation this year. So this is the verb form. This is the noun form. Unfortunately, a vacation isn't in our budget this year. Okay, I saw an example. This one. I'm on a tight budget right now. This is a very common thing that a native speaker would say. So let's say your friend asks you if you want to go to the spa or to the hardware store. That's where guys go, right? Every weekend, you just go to the hardware store with your friends. So you go to the spa or the hardware store. Your friend invites you, but you say to them, oh, sorry, I can't. I'm on a tight budget right now. It means that you have to spend your money very wisely and you don't have money available for extra expenses like going to the spa, going to the movies, eating out more than once a month, whatever it might be. I'm on a tight budget right now. That's a very common thing. Thank you for sharing it. And this is also a very common expression with the word budget. The car I want to buy is out of my budget. So if someone offers you something, usually a larger item, you might say, oh, that's out of my budget. So maybe your roof needs to be repaired. And then the contractor recommends that you use there's a certain type of roofing that's common in Canada now, and it's very expensive. Oh, I can't think of what it is. It's not tile roof, it's something else. Anyways, let's just say a metal roof. That might be it, a metal roof. And then they say, oh, you should use a metal roof because it has all these benefits. And then you say, oh, that's out of my budget. We'll stick to tile. A metal roof is out of my budget. Okay, so that's a very good one as well. Yeah, this is a very nice expression as well. Our budget is limited now. If you have a limited budget, it's just saying I have limited money. So you only have this much available for a certain thing, but then what you need, in this case a car, is this much. So you can say our budget is limited now, so we will postpone buying a car. If you postpone something, it means that you do it later. So you say not now, later. You can do it because you don't have money, you don't have time, you're not that interested. There could be many reasons why. Okay, so great job, everyone, sharing all these different examples. Let's keep going and talk about everyday spending. Everyday spending. Now, notice here, every day is one word. So, as one word, it does not mean I go to the gym every day. That is two words, and that means Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every day. Everyday spending is routine spending, it's normal spending, it's regular spending. Okay, that's everyday, one word. Everyday spending. So, for me, everyday spending would be groceries, utilities, water, gas, mortgage, rent, car payments, gas. All of those things are everyday spending. So you might say, groceries have really gone up this year. Ooh, is this something that you're feeling in your city, your area right now? Groceries have really gone up this year. So to go up means to increase in price. So to go up. So if you say groceries have really gone up, you're saying groceries are more expensive. So it's just an alternative way of saying is or are, depending on if you're subject to singular or plural, more expensive. So to be expensive, but then you're using the comparative, to be more expensive. Groceries have really gone up this year. So you might say, my gas bill, my water bill, my Netflix bill, whatever it might be, have or has. If it's a singular thing, it would be has really gone up this year. Yeah, here's a great one. Due to increased tariffs, the prices of imported goods have gone up. Yeah, it's always goods with an S. The prices of imported goods have gone up. Very nicely done. Great job. Prices are getting higher and higher. Exactly. Yeah. So higher and higher, you can use skyrocketed. Skyrocketed. So it means to increase very quickly and steeply. Groceries have outright skyrocketed. Very nice. The price of petrol has gone up this year. Exactly. Now, certainly you can also say has gone down this year. I mean, that's not generally how it works, but certain things like home prices really fluctuate. Sometimes home prices are quite high in an area, but then they can go down. So, definitely, you might talk about home prices in my area have gone down this year. That could be an example. So, to go up, increase, to go down, decrease. So, everyone, think of an example where you could use go down. Not as common as go up, is it? Okay. Yes, they fluctuate, which means up and down, up and down, up and down, fluctuate. Like the stock market fluctuates. It's up and then it's down, it's up and down. Exchange rates fluctuate, for example. Yeah, so gold has gone down or gone up or fluctuate. Not sure what the context is, but absolutely, for sure, the price of gold. Okay. But clothes have decreased, have decreased. You can use that. Very nice. Crypto. That's another one that definitely fluctuates. How about this? I usually splurge on good coffee. Remember, we're in the category of everyday spending. What do you splurge on? This is true for me. I definitely spend a lot of money on coffee. It's not necessary at all, but I enjoy good coffee and I want to spend the money. So, this is to spend more money than usual or required. It is not necessary to spend $5 on coffee. I could have coffee at home and spend $0 or a few cents for the coffee that I have to buy from the grocery store. Or I could go somewhere cheap and go to McDonald's and get a coffee for $1. Or I can splurge on good coffee, which I do. I usually splurge on good coffee. So, what would it be for you? Llama says it's true for me too. I mean, you have to splurge a little, right? I splurge on my clothes. Exactly. Exactly. You can buy a shirt for $10, but many people don't. They spend a lot more money. So you can absolutely say, I splurge. Yeah. I splurge on quality clothes. Exactly. I splurged on shoes. I love it. Why not? Have fun. Great job. Okay, so splurge, that's the verb. Splurge, splurge. And you splurge on something. So you could just use splurge. You could say, wow, you bought a lot of clothes. Yeah, I splurged. Because the clothes is obvious. My friend just said it. So I don't have to say, yeah, I splurged on clothes because it's obvious. She just said it. So you can just say, yeah, I splurged. I splurged. And then if you include the noun, you have to use on. I splurge on good tap beer in the late afternoon. Absolutely. You can get really cheap beer, but why when you can just splurge? I splurge on buying books. Well, that's a very educational thing to splurge on, a very beneficial thing. I'm splurging on travel. Okay. So if you put I'm splurging, it means you're doing it right now. Grammatical, but you just have to make sure that's what you want to say, not just as a routine. But yes, that describes me as well. I will gladly splurge on airline tickets because you need to be comfortable for a 6 or 10 hour flight. Men splurge on football games. Yeah, maybe they buy better tickets or I don't know what else men buy on football games, to be honest. But yes, why not splurge? I splurge on my makeup. I splurge on groceries. Yeah, maybe you get organic groceries or you get the better quality. You can definitely do that. All right. So people like talking about splurging. Love it. How about this one? Buying a coffee every day really adds up. So here, notice here, every day, this is 2 words because I'm talking about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's every day. But my other example, everyday spending. That's just routine, regular, normal spending. So buying a coffee every day really adds up. So the phrasal verb to add up is commonly used when talking about money or financing. And you can think of it add up as just accumulate. So to become a larger total over time. Yeah, that $5 one day, it doesn't seem like much, whatever. But then when you add that five, 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 when you look at it over the course of a month or a year, you realize how big that amount is. So you can use this in any context. But we use this also in a positive way. You can say, learning English for 5 minutes a day really adds up. So in that case, 5 minutes, it doesn't seem like a lot when you only look at it one day. But then when you look at it, five, 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 over the course of a year, or a month even, it seems like a lot bigger. So you can use it in a positive way or in a more negative way. Just make sure when you use this that you start with a gerund statement. So you wouldn't say to having, you would just say having millet every day really adds up. Having millet every day really adds up. Great example. Yeah, exercising every other day really adds up. Yeah, so the benefits that you get from it accumulate. So benefit, benefit, benefit. It seems small when you look at it just one, but then when you look at all of it combined, you realize, wow, that's a lot. So I love that. Great job. Yes, this is a perfect example. Saving $1. So you don't need a $1, just saving $1 every day adds up. Exactly. It seems like not a lot of money, but in the course of a year, and then if you invest that and you do, imagine you started doing this when you were 18 years old and you're now 40, 45. Let me tell you, that in addition to the interest and the compounding of it, oh yeah, it really adds up. Okay, let's keep going. My friend got a great deal on a new computer. Oh, everyone loves sharing when they get a great deal. So to get a great deal. Now, you can just use that as a phrase. Someone might say, oh, wow, is that a new TV? Yeah, I got a great deal. I got a great deal. Now, if you continue on and you specify the something, a computer, a new computer, then you must use the additional preposition on. Yeah, I got a great deal on this TV. So, when was the last time you said this? I got a great deal on what? And this means you got the something, the computer, the TV, for a very good price. So, the reason why it's not clear. Yeah, maybe there was a sale, maybe not. Maybe you had a coupon, maybe not. Maybe you know the person selling the computer and they gave you their employee discount. I mean, it's not clear why. It just focuses on the fact that the price you paid was low for the item. I got a great deal last year on buying a smartphone. Very nice. I got a great deal on a new phone. Absolutely. Oh, I love this. I splurge on good fruit. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I understand that because in Canada, things like apples, oranges are really cheap. And yeah, you can just buy apples, oranges. But if you want to buy a papaya or a dragon fruit, it's really expensive. But you can splurge. You can splurge and buy that dragon fruit for $10. Yesterday, I got a great deal on a new set of cups. That's awesome. Congratulations. I got a great deal on my new apartment. Oh, that is definitely something you want to say. Awesome. Ooh, this as well. I went to the car dealer and got a great deal on a new Tesla Model S. Ooh, that is awesome. You can get a lot of stuff. You would say, Deepa, you can get a lot of great deals at Costco. You can get a lot of great deals at Costco. So to get a great deal, but you can make it plural to get a lot of great deals. So make deals plural at Costco. I'm using at because in more specifies you're in the store, but at is just looking at it as the location. I got a great deal on buying a Volvo. Wonderful. Have fun using that for sure. How about this? I'm waiting to buy a new fridge until they go on sale. Okay. So you need to buy a new fridge or you want to. Maybe it's not a necessity, maybe it's just a desire. I'm but you're not buying a new fridge now because maybe it's close to Black Friday and you know the fridge is going to be on sale. Or there's just some time of year that you know they're going to be on sale. So it could be weeks away, it could be months away, but that's when you're going to get it. So notice here to go on sale. We use the verb go to talk about the transition. Right now, not on sale. But 3 weeks from now, when it's Black Friday, on sale. So it's talking about the transition. Not on sale, to go on sale. So to be offered at a lower price than normal. All right. So is there something that you're waiting to buy until it or they go on sale? I'm waiting to buy what until they go on sale? How about this? That comes to $400 after tax. So to come to, this is very commonly used when talking about the final price. So let's say you have a basket full of items. So you didn't calculate the exact amount. You have 20 items in your basket. And then they scan all the items and they can certainly say that'll be $400. Or they can say that comes to. So comes to. Now, come is your verb. So in the past simple, you might be telling your friend about your vacation and say, yeah, so after airfare, hotel, the excursions, our vacation came to $10,000. So usually you might talk about, well, you have this one thing, the vacation, but then there's all these smaller elements that you need to pay for, all the smaller expenses. So you might just mention the certain things and then say, the vacation came to. Or you buy a new computer, but then you have to buy the cords, you have to buy maybe if it's a laptop, you buy a case for it, you buy a microphone, and you can say all of it came to, and then you say the money, the amount. If you say after tax, this means that this price includes tax. In North America, the price you see is not the final price because you still have to pay tax. And then if you go to a restaurant, although it's not required, it's customary to tip. So if it says it's $30 for your lobster, it's actually like $45 after tax and tip. So saying after means including. Yeah. So for the lobster example, it would be $30 before tax and tip, and $45 after tax and tip. So before means not including, and after means including. Okay, so just remember that your verb is come. So it's not to become, it's just come. So my tuition came to. My tuition came to $500. All right, let's talk about financial stress. So this is the negatives of the talking about money. We've been talking about relatively fun topics, but now we'll talk about the not fun topics. Okay, you might say, my sister graduated from medical school, but now she has crushing student debt. The adjective crushing is commonly used in a financial context, but in a negative way. This word is commonly used in a positive way to say you're crushing it. You're crushing it. So that's the same as saying you're rocking it. You're doing a great job. You're crushing it. She crushed the presentation. Okay. So in that case, it's positive. But in this case, it's negative to describe crushing student debt, crushing medical bills. So generally we use this with debt or bills. So extremely heavy or overwhelming. So if someone said this to me, I have crushing student debt, I would imagine that their amount of student debt is extremely high. Not just high, extremely high. Okay, how about this? I can't pay my mortgage this month. So you could end it there. I can't pay my mortgage. So, what is a mortgage? This is a loan, but it's a loan specific for a property. So, your house or a plot of land, property. I can't pay my mortgage this month. So just like if you have a car payment or you have your rent, rent would be you don't own the house. So a mortgage is when you own the house, but you have to make payments to it, assuming that you didn't pay for the entire house at one time. So that would be an option. Not many people do that in North America. They take out a mortgage. So the phrasal verb take out is used with money to mean to remove money from an account. But with the word mortgage, when you take out a mortgage, it means you get a mortgage. No, a mortgage has nothing to do with a barter system. A mortgage is a very standard loan that you get at the bank or a specific mortgage broker. Okay, so you can take out a mortgage, but if the house is $200,000, well, then your loan could be $150,000. And every month you need to make payments towards that loan, towards the mortgage. Now, you can simply say, I can't pay my mortgage this month, period. Or hopefully you can continue on and say something else without dipping into savings. So if you dip into, it means that you take money out of your savings. So you use your savings, but it sounds like it's not a positive thing. So you might say, I had to dip into my kids' college fund. So every month you put aside money, you set aside money for your kids' college fund, and that's reserved for your kids' college. But then your roof is leaking and you don't have any additional money. So you have to dip into the college fund. So you have to take money out, but you shouldn't be taking that money. That's what dip into means. So to use when you shouldn't be using because it's reserved for a different purpose. So that's the only reason why you shouldn't be using it without dipping into savings. So you had to take money out of your savings account, which is for your retirement, to pay your bill, your mortgage. Let's keep going. You might say, I had to borrow money from my parents just to cover my expenses. So to borrow, this is you receive money, but only temporarily, which means you have to return the money. So they're not giving you the money. If someone says you can borrow this money, it's very different from saying you can have this money. If someone says you can have this money, to me, it sounds like you don't have to return it. but you can borrow this money. Well, then I know I have to return it in the future. And you borrow something from someone, not just money. Someone might ask me, can I borrow your pen for a sec? Can I borrow your pen for a sec? So they just want to use my pen. Maybe they need to sign something and then they're going to return the pen. And to cover means to pay for, just to cover my expenses, just to pay for my expenses. How about this? We've been living paycheck to paycheck since I was laid off. So I was laid off. This means I lost my job, but not because I was a bad employee, but because my project ended and there is no more work, or because my company cannot afford to pay me. So if you're laid off, it's very important distinction, because it means that it wasn't your fault. There was an operational reason why you are no longer employed. But it still means I don't have a job. I don't have a job. So to be laid off, and then the verb was is in the past simple. And to live paycheck to paycheck, this means that you use your entire income. So if you earn $1,000 per month, you spend $1,000 per month, but not on the spa, not on fancy clothes, only groceries, rent, car, gas, water, basic expenses, and you have no money left over. So that's to live paycheck to paycheck. Live is your verb, so you have to conjugate it. Yeah, it's the same idiom as to make ends meet. Exactly. Very nice. How about this? I stressed. Sorry. You could grammatically say I stressed out about these past due bills, but that sounds like it's the past simple and you're no longer doing it. This is a typo. It should be I'm stressed out. Okay? Because it's to be stressed out. You can say I stressed out. Okay? I stressed out about the presentation all week. That's the past simple. And grammatically, it makes sense if the context is something in the past. So if these past due bills are no longer past due, it's in the past, it's over, you already paid them. Well, then that's fine. You can say I stressed out about these past due bills last year, but then I paid them and I'm no longer stressed out. But the expression is to be stressed out. So to be it's the adjective form. So it describes your current state. So I am stressed out. I'm stressed out about these past due bills. You can use this in a non-financial way. I'm stressed out about my IELTS. And past due, it means not paid by the required deadline. So if your rent was due February 1st and today is February 10th, well, then and you didn't pay your rent, well, your rent is past due. It has not been paid by the required deadline of February 1st. And depending on the service provider, often they will charge you interest. So instead of $1,000, you have to pay $1,010 because the $10 is a penalty because you didn't pay it on time, which could cause you more stress. You can say, I'm really worried about these bills piling up. So to pile up, it means to increase or accumulate quickly. You can use this with anything. You can say, my emails are piling up. So you have all these unread emails in your inbox. The dishes are piling up. So the dirty dishes that you have to wash, they're accumulating quickly. You have yesterday's dinner, today's breakfast, today's lunch, and now today's dinner. So you have a big pile. I'm really worried about these bills piling up. So accumulating because maybe they're past due. These medical bills really put us into debt. So something can put someone into debt. And that means to cause you to go into debt. So if you're in debt, it means that you owe money that you cannot immediately repay. So you have to create an agreement where, well, I can't pay you $1,000. Okay, well, you have to pay me $20 per month, plus you have to pay me interest because of that. So these medical bills really put us into debt. And hopefully you've learned from my pronunciation that debt, the B is silent. Debt. These medical bills really put us into debt. Maybe it's your tuition really put you into debt or something. Your leaky roof put you into debt. And that's it. Now you have a lot of vocabulary that you can use: positive, fun, and some of the negative vocabulary to talk about stress and worry as well. And remember, you can get this free speaking guide. It definitely will not put you into debt because it is absolutely free. And you can download this from my website. I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can print it like I did, or you can download it to your desktop. You can read it online as well or on your computer. And if you want to keep learning with me, if you want to keep getting personalized support, if you want to improve your pronunciation, your grammar, your vocabulary, you can do that in the Finally Fluent Academy. So you can look in the description for the link, or you can also go to my website and put yes in the comments if you enjoyed this lesson. It seems like we had a lot of fun today. Everyone was participating. It seemed like this was a popular topic. And here, exactly, you're crushing it. So here, crushing is used positively. But if I said, oh, I have crushing debt, that is not a good thing. But if someone said you're crushing your debt, well, then that would be a positive thing. So you're crushing it. That means you're doing a great job. So thank you for saying that. And thank you everyone for joining. It was such a fun class. I had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. All right, everyone, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see all of you. Bye.